come over here and take this in one shot. How's it going, everybody? It's me, Cloudy, your favorite Korean immersion learning guy on YouTube. I really got to figure out how to say that the same every time. I know what you're thinking. You've noticed something a little different about me, and it's true. My timeline bar is much shorter today. I'm going to make this a little bit quicker because I'm a changed man. I respect your time now. And I'm going to try to respect my time a little bit too. I did have a lovely walk coming out here to this really nice location, not too far from my house. A great view from the mountains. They probably look a little small on camera, but I mean, those are huge. This train is just passing now, so hopefully that's probably not coming up in my mic too much anyway. But anyway, let's get into it. I wanted to tell you guys today about the last couple of months immersing in Korean content to learn Korean. I missed my last update because not really a whole lot had happened. I'd been focusing on my fitness and I had just been focusing on showing up every day. And so nothing substantial really changed up until 1 month ago, like at the end, when I would have shot my last video is when when I made some changes, a lot of changes to my routine. So for starters, I want to talk about the Migaku extension. I downloaded the new Migaku extension in order to kind of revamp and switch up my language routine. And for anybody who hasn't been totally aware of it yet, this one includes Korean parsing. And so it will go through and figure out, it will deconjugate words and figure out the root words. And then there's a lot of cool things like underlining words you don't know. And it will match with the Anki status, the status of words in your Anki cards. And it will automatically mark those as known in your extension. And you'll have a full list of words there, a database that gets updated. So as you watch a show, you will see a red underline under words you don't know, or a yellow if you've seen it, but it's not, fully known yet. So this is a pretty cool extension, and it made immersing in Korean content with subtitles a little bit easier. Makes it feel like a little bit more of a game. At the start of the month is when I made the decision to start hitting 10 words a day in my Anki. And this is something I did towards the beginning. For my first 5-6 months, I was doing 10, at least 10. Sometimes I did 15 for a while. But I did 10 words every single day. Showed up and did my reps and took care of business. And then after a while, it started dropping down a little bit. And then eventually that became around between 0 and 10 cards, an average of 4 and sometimes 5 cards for a 6-month interval, maybe 7-month interval, 8-month. I don't know. It was a while. Depends on how you slice the time. But I wasn't making a lot of Anki cards, but I was really just trying to continually show up and to take care of business, find content that I liked, that I could kind of understand, and see what happens. When you do that enough, you still make progress. Like, I still made progress during all that time. It's a little bit slower than maybe some other people. But for me, it's what I needed to keep going. For me, longevity is the ultimate deciding factor for all of this. I have to be able to keep showing up. So whenever it was getting too annoying or frustrating or whatever, I just dropped down the amount I did until it was manageable. Yeah, I felt like it was time to finally get back at that level of 10 cards per day and really hammer it, really hit it hard. And the Migaku extension has helped make me able to find the best sentences for those 10 cards. My Anki, I really leaned back into it, and I was dealing with a little bit of an Anki debt of sorts, where maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I was hitting pass on a lot of cards that I really didn't, like a lot of single vocab words that I started introducing. And I wasn't really knowing them fully. Sometimes I would just pass them, I was being really loose with it. So now that I'm trying to be more strict with my Anki reps, I have these single word vocab cards that are coming up, and I don't know what they mean, So I'm failing a lot of cards recently, but I'm resetting a lot of this habit, and I am happy to say I got 10 cards every day this month, so 300 new cards for the month of September. Content-wise, I really started to hit my stride with a lot of things. I finished up Avatar: The Last Airbender, basically watched the last season of that. A lot of YouTube, just I love variety shows and YouTube clips of variety shows and YouTubers, and then I also watched Hotel Del Luna. And let me pull do I have notes? I'll edit this out. What else did I do? Yeah, so I've set up a lot of shows to watch, and I feel like I'm so set up and ready to go now. It's crazy. I finally feel like I'm at the point where I can enjoy full dramas made for adults, and more than just like on a very surface level of half guessing what's going on, half catching words I know, and all of that. Like, I can actually enjoy a majority of the story, and then just use the extension or use a dictionary to look up those extra words. And there's still a lot of lookups, but now I can finally, those lookups are manageable so that I can follow the whole story through. It's little details are still missed probably, but I'm not that far in the language. It's been great. So I feel like I'm at a breakthrough point. And there's a lot of great shows out there, great Korean shows, as a lot of you guys know. And I'm so ready to tackle into a lot of those. I have a lot of them on my watch list. Hotel Del Luna was the first show that I wanted to watch when I started immersing in Korean. I made it through one episode and I understood nothing. So up until now, I'd been putting it on hold. I finally came back to it and it was so enjoyable. I personally loved the show. It's like an 8.5 out of 10 for me. I'm a big fan of IU, and it's a cheesy story, but it's fun. It's not taking itself seriously. So the other thing that happened is in the last couple of weeks, I got access to the new beta version of the Migaku extension, which includes a reader. So I was able to have my ebooks uploaded onto this reader, and it actually parses and deconjugates things, on the websites. The extension actually does this on all websites, as long as they don't have copy protection. So you can go and read through and use the pop-up dictionary. It's been extremely low friction, just getting in and just being able to do that quickly. So I'm happy to say that after months and months of putting off reading Harry Potter, I picked up about halfway through the book and read all the way up until the last chapter. I'm halfway through the last chapter, so it didn't happen exactly in time to finish this update, but I'm so close. I basically read half of the book in a couple of weeks. The most amount of words I've read in that amount of time since I started. Reading subtitles, because I always read the subtitles. I think that has helped continue to further push my reading. And then also, of course, my vocabulary. So I just wanted to address something that I've been thinking about on the role of listening. I know this is a kind of a torn opinion in the community, and it depends on who you ask. The role of listening and in the language while you learn it. A lot of people think that you can just read, and your listening will naturally pick up, your listening will naturally get better. I fully believe that for some people, this is very doable. This is possible. This is not only possible, but this is like what happens. So I think that's doable. For other people, myself included, I don't know, I have a different perspective. When I first started learning Korean, I was mostly listening. I was learning words in Anki, but I was listening for them in my immersion. So I was trying to pick up things in the middle of natural speed, just spoken language. I listened to, at this point now, between 15,000 and 2,000 hours of just listening to Korean content. And I've seen people who know way more words than I do talk about how they have such a hard time listening. And I find it curious because I don't actually have that problem. That's not to say that my reading or that my listening is better than my reading. You know, if I read something, I will pick up everything that I know. But if I listen, I will pick up just about everything that I know. You know, which is to say, if I know the words, if I know the grammar, if I understand it, I've had so much practice listening to it that for those words that I'm kind of familiar with or learning or have really learned, I hear them and I can pick out those bits of information in the order they come in a sentence and usually make sense of it. It's not perfect, and obviously my vocabulary has huge gaps in it, but I am kind of a believer that if you do put in time listening and make sure that you exercise that part of your brain that needs to parse everything out, that needs to keep the information flowing through, because you can't just stop, understand, continue on, stop, understand, and continue on. You have to practice doing it in real time. If you give yourself hundreds of hours of that practice, I think that it just, the listening comes. So obviously, reading is great for expanding your vocabulary and increasing your comprehension and understanding of all the parts in the sentence, how they work together, and everything. And I really think that, you know, my suspicion is that people who have read a lot and who have much bigger vocabulary than I do, but who turn on a YouTube video and they just feel like they struggle, I think that there's got to be something about spending some time listening to the language. So I know this is something that comes up in all of the different language communities. I've heard people in the Chinese community say it, Japanese, you know, Spanish, even for some of the, you know, near English languages like, you know, Spanish and German. You know, those, I think people need to spend some time listening to it, to train your ears and to train your mind picking things out at their speed. You have to keep up with them. So anyway, I said I was going to respect you guys' time, so I don't want to drag things on too longer, even though I'm really enjoying the scenery. I'm on the side of like a pretty decent sized hill. There's some great, you know, fields down here. I'm gonna probably take some footage of them and show, just because this whole little valley is pretty neat. Anyway, I'm going to go over my kind of short-term and medium-term goals. My daily goals here are to continue sentence mining 10 sentences every day. What I like to do is to rep my sentences as early as I can in the day, and then get 10 new cards for the following day, so that I know that the next time I open Anki, I can just start repping those 10 new cards, and I don't have to wait too long for those cards to come through. I do it while they're still pretty fresh in my mind. And sometimes if I get a little extra, I'll put them in a sentence deck, so that if a couple of days down the line, if I don't get quite enough by the end of the day, I can just grab a couple from that sentence bank. You know, just to continue to watch these shows. I just started Squid Game. I know it's like the big, everybody and their mom has heard of Squid Game by now. I'm getting my friends who don't learn Korean, who don't, you know, they just know that I'm learning Korean. They're asking me if I've seen Squid Game. So everybody on the internet's talking about it. I had to check it out. And the first episode is great so far. So I'm looking forward to watching the rest of that. And I have so many other dramas that are lined up. I'm really stoked to watch through them and to maybe start listening to some of them at work with condensed audio. The Migaku extension has a way of producing condensed audio. It's pretty great. And I want to keep reading. I want to pick a different book. I have all the Harry Potter books, but when I'm done with Harry Potter, I want to pick a Korean native book, something that's somewhat easier, and go through and learn that, or like go through and read that, and then maybe come back to the second Harry Potter book after I've given myself a break. At this point, I feel confident that I can get through books because I've done it now. Well, I'm finishing one up either today or tomorrow. I finally feel like, okay, it took me so long to really get into reading, and now I feel like I can do it. It's possible for me now. So that's really exciting. It's motivating, and I want to keep doing that each day. My sort of goal for this month is to just get another 300 words in Anki, and I feel like this is really starting to make an impact. After a month of doing that, it's starting to make an impact on the feeling of my progression and growth in the language. And the other thing I would like to do is to come back a little bit and pay attention a little more to some grammar points, because I always do this. I started out with some grammar and then immersion, and then I'd pause for a month and then do some grammar again, read through a guide, and then come back, and to immerse for a couple more months and then go back. So I did that with Talk to Me in Korean, How to Study Korean, and Korean Grammar and Use. I guess it was second, it was Korean Grammar and Use, and then third was How to Study Korean. Anyway, now it's been quite a few months since I've done that, and I look things up every once in a while. There's a lot more grammar I'm comfortable with, but now I feel like my vocabulary is getting high enough that I come across a lot of sentences where I'll know all the words, but then the grammar is still a little fuzzy. So I'd like to spend some time dialing that in a little bit. So I think there's going to be a train coming through here blasting its horn, so this is probably a good time for me to end. I would like to encourage you all to comment and let me know what you think about the update, or if you have any questions. I also want to thank you. I should have said this earlier. I want to thank you guys for 800 subscribers on YouTube. I think that's pretty cool. I've had a bit of a weird relationship with YouTube, with my channel, because at certain points I've wanted to dive in and make cool videos and upload more. But at the same time, I'm working full time. Sometimes I work 6 days a week. Most of the time, it's 5 days a week. And I also want to keep making progress in Korean, and I want to immerse and want to learn words and study. So I have a lot of video ideas. Like I almost shouldn't be even saying this, because now I'm going to regret if I don't know. We'll see what happens. I have a lot of video ideas written down, sketched out, a lot of outlines for specific videos that I want to do, a lot of cool things. So I think, YouTube, making content for you guys would be a lot of fun. I have some entertaining videos, some helpful videos that I've planned. So if you guys want to see those, you can let me know by subscribing. And if you want to see more content, or like the video if you liked this one. So I know that's cliche to hear, but it's my job to remind you guys to do that. So I'm going to cut it off here. Thank you guys for listening. I hope that wasn't too long. I wanted to make it somewhat focused. But until next month, which I will guarantee this time, I'm not going to skip a month because I've got a lot of momentum. Even if I show up and tell you guys that everything crashed after the first week and I didn't do anything, that would probably be worth telling. So I don't think that's going to happen though. So until you meet next time, I'll see you guys later. Have fun immersing.